From HYPEBEAST Radio, I'm Jeff Staple, and this is The Business of Hype, a show about creative entrepreneurs, brand builders, innovators, and the realities behind the dreams they've built. If you know, met, or have had a conversation with Ben Baller, you will know that Ben is a character. And with everything this man has been through in his life, you understand where that character comes from. The music industry, the sneaker industry, the automobile industry, the jewelry industry. These circles just attract interesting people no matter what. And Ben being at the epicenter of all these made him a magnet for success, notoriety, fame, and infamy. If you're one of the 1 million+ followers of Ben on his Instagram, you already know he's wide open and honest. He wears everything on his sleeve, from his wife, to his family, to his past, to his business. So why should this episode of The Business of Hype be any different? Buckle up and get ready for the roller coaster ride that is Ben Baller. I mean, first let's do a proper introduction for those who don't know. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Ben Baller. I like to think that people know me outside of jewelry, but I've come to the conclusion that I've become so popular and accumulated so much of a fan base from the jewelry that people forgot what I've done in the past. So yeah, I am a jeweler. I consider myself a father and a husband first, but I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I've had some interesting people call me a modern day Renaissance man, you know, and I guess it could fit. I don't like to be proclaimed anything, but I am a jeweler. I do own a kids clothing brand, and I own a cannabis company, which is I'll get into it, I'm sure, all of that. And yeah.
And you have other identities, like I know you for a lot of other things, like sneaker connoisseur / genius, Nike Talk OG, music. You know, like the whole music side is like another chapter of your life, sort of. You know,
for me, I feel like music was, to me, I haven't accepted the factor that I am a jeweler. I know it sounds crazy. I say it every day, but I don't accept that until somebody who I feel like has lived a certain amount of life, has had a certain amount of success, has attained a certain amount of wealth and knowledge, and I respect, let's say, John Mayer. And John Mayer's like, hey, Ben, man, you can say what you want to. You're an artist. You know, what you do with jewelry is crazy and everything. And I'm like, all right, well, I got to accept that. And all this time, I've always waited for someone to give me the validation for music and the DJing. I feel like I never got that. So all the shit that I did 20, 25 years ago in the music business is just paying off now, as far as it's just built up like the extra. It's like the foundation. They're like, oh, well, let's just dig in here. What are we going to see? Oh, a bunch of jewels and Rolexes. No, wait a second. Dr. Dre. Wait, Jay-Z. Wait, DJing. Wait a second. Wait a second. Nike. What? And even though I don't look per se 45 years old, you know, I'm hanging out with people literally half my age, you know, literally 21, 22. And I'm like, wow, you know, I could be, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, my dad's 43. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm older than your dad. And I sit and have a conversation with someone like, let's say, for instance, Bari. I respect what Bari's doing with V-Loan, and we aren't going to get any of the stupid negative allegation things, but, you know, I'm a member of OG, you know, and OG is, you know, is our crew, and you know, and V-Loan is one of the brands under the umbrella, and you know, and when I talk to Bari's so knowledgeable, it makes me, I feel refreshed when I think that he's gone and, you know, it's not like he's not immediately going after Virgil because he knows Virgil, whatever. It's because him and Virgil have a lot of mutual friends. What I'm happy about is the fact that he'll know Cali, and he'll know more than just Hiroshi. Like he knows, like, you know, he'll know Kubo from GR8, and he knows like a lot. And people are giving him more history of not necessarily streetwear, but just the cool shit, you know, from Edison and everything. And just, I mean, names are coming out, but we started talking, and we were at dinner one night, and we know each other because, you know, we have so many mutual friends. I'm down with the mob and down with, you know, ASAP and everything. And he's like, wait a second, how do you know this chef? And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I was part of the Nike group. I was part of the Nike, you know, the Blue House. Yeah. We started the Blue House. That was a Nike marketing energy house that we created. It was Jim Morrison's old estate in Venice Beach, and we did sneaker events there, and she was the in-house chef. And he's like, you a part of that? listen, you know Eddie Cruz? I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? I was an intern for Eddie Cruz in the early 90s. My sister helped Eddie get, kind of situated with some background shit. And all these connections that I made early on kind of made me who I am today, because a lot of that didn't exist. And I think at that point, he was like, man, let's do some fancy jeweler, probably had a decent background, whatever, blah, blah. Maybe a little, I don't know what.
Right.
Didn't care why he wanted to pry or go into research about it. Just the one dimension was just Ben was the bling guy or the car guy.
Yeah.
So when he found that out, I was like, all right, cool. I'm glad some people are starting to know.
Mm-hmm.
But when Jay-Z did the 20th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt, there's Biggs, there's Jay-Z, and there's Dame Dash. And when they did it, they came and they said, we want to do it in LA first. And when we come to LA, we want you to be the host of it. We want you to be the curator of this. And I was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
And all this time I've wanted my Rockefeller chain, my rock chain, and Jay Biggs gave me the chain there, and I was like, man, this is too fucking much, this is crazy. And I think a lot of people are like, why the fuck is Ben like, oh, he must have made the chain or this, whatever, and then they started to understand. There was a like threads on Nike Talk. People were like, man, I saw Jay-Z the other day. I was like, hey man, you know that guy Ben Baller? And he say, look back at me. I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, yeah, right, bro. He would never say that. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. But you know how kids are on the internet, they're just being haters and stuff. Yeah. And I think people kind of were like, it's not like Jay moves like the president now, he really does with Secret Service, the whole that type of thing. He's not accessible. I don't bother people. Mm-hmm. I have a client right now who is an A-list actor, Academy Award winner and everything else, had me come to his mansion. We sit and talk. I don't know if I don't think he tried to make me feel little, like belittled or anything, like, walking in his $30 million mansion. But we sat and we talked about the old times. Remember when we were like broke, trying to like figure things out?
Yeah.
Now you're a huge star, and now I'm sitting in your $20 million mansion and you have a beautiful family, whatever. And he's showing me all these watches. And I'm like, yo, bro, no offense, man, but this shit is nothing to me. Do you know? No matter how much money, because I've dealt with a different type of wealth with Saudis and all that stuff and everything. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he orders like 2 or 3 things, and where I'm at in my life right now, I'm not even pursuing those orders he did until he tells me again, hey, listen, what's up with this shit? Here's the money.
He didn't hit the minimums.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, where's the money? Here's this.
Uh-huh.
So when I think about that, I look at other people and they think about me at a certain way. They don't realize I'm a big troll online, and they're like, hey, you're always on this person's page, leaving a comment, blah, blah, whatever. And, they started doing this only recently, like in the last year. But if you have a verified account or something, you leave a comment on someone's page, it usually shows up, mm-hmm. In the comments where other ones don't. And I'm just a troll. But they don't realize I probably have 6, 7 people I've kind of like not really want to. I mean, when the money comes and everything else, then it's another step before I feel like, okay, I'm going to take this job on.
Yeah.
And then there's political things where I'm like, all right, well, and I hope he doesn't take offense by this, but like, I don't wear Jordan so much anymore, but I do like to have that plug. It's a good plug to have, my kids, whatever.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to make Michael Jordan and his family some fucking jewelry. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're not going to have to hit the minimum, or whatever it may be. I'm going to make whatever it is because I want to have that good rapport with them.
Yeah.
Do you know? And there's other things deeper than that. There's golf things, there's basketball stuff, games. I don't know. It's just a good thing to have. Whereas my actor friend, like, he's cool and he's my boy, but at the same time, like, yo, bro, this is a business. Like, I'm not going to come to you with the movie and be like, all right, listen. And you're like, okay, well, I haven't got paid yet. It's like all the business wasn't been handled yet. And I think I don't know, maybe he feels like I should hit him and kind of be on his dick harder. Like, hey, man, what's up? We going to make this chain? Are we going to do this? Like, no, bro, I don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
Because there's 17 other things I have to do that are really important as well. And I'm not getting those done as it is.
Yeah. What Ben is talking about here is basically learning to put a value on one's time. And if you put a high value on your time, there will be a natural order to prioritizing that time. I love when Ben said, I'm not bringing a movie script to his actor friend. He draws the line in knowing when the friendship begins and ends and when the professional relationship starts. I find that in our industry, especially with creatives, it's hard to definitively draw that line. I mean, you might be hanging out with your friends, talking about things that you're working on, projects, challenges, etc. So there's already this blurring of work and play. It's almost understandable that one might take it too far. But you know for sure when it happens, right? I've been in many situations where the conversation with my homie goes from, hey, I'm thinking of redoing my logo, to, hey, check out my new logo, to, hey, can you do my new logo? And you immediately know when that line is crossed. So first, be respectful of your own time and learn the value of it. And then do the same to others. Value their time and their hustle. This is, after all, a business. It's never personal. So do you remember, let's take us back to the time where you said there was a time where Ben Baller wasn't balling.
Okay. Well, there's two times. There's something called ghost balling, which is popular on Instagram now. You appear to have money and you're on a private jet, and it's not your private jet. It's not even the one you rented or commissioned or whatever it may be. And then you're wearing borrowed jewelry and all this other stuff and everything else. And it's like, that's a very extreme version, but there's a lot of those guys on the internet.
Ghost balling.
I want to start at ghost balling first. I think in the early 90s, image was such a big deal that one thing I never ghost balled with was sneakers. Never played games with that. I always had to have my sneaker game was always on point. My sneaker game's been on point even when I was broke, because whether people talk shit about it and I hear people say, oh man, you got more money on your feet than you do on your pocket, and like, okay, well, that's great. That's where I want my money at. So, hey, I became a millionaire off sneakers, so fuck you. I would have the Jordans, but I would go and literally lease cars like a Lexus or something, because Jay-Z had one, and I couldn't make payments. And they were like, every fucking 3 months, it's up for almost a repo, you know what I mean, and things like that. And I was living beyond my means. You can't
make the payment on the car because you're buying too many shoes?
No, I was making $60,000 a year as a record employee, a music business employee, and I was spending maybe $100, so I was in debt 40. I was living beyond my left. Yeah, I was beyond. So in that way, people were like, "Oh, you still have money?" No, because my mindset was so fucked up that I was living so beyond my means. I had to have a Versace shirt. I had to have this, and this, and then I realized, yo, this is crazy.
Okay, so that's a version of ghost balling.
Yeah,
which a lot of people I think who are young are like affected by that. They have a $22 hour job, but they've got the Cause Jordans on somehow.
Yeah.
That they paid for.
Yeah.
It's like, and they
live in a house with 7 people, right. And it's a 300 square foot place. And I'm not making fun of anybody, because I came from humble beginnings. So going on, I actually don't think I've ever got too into depth with this, but I mean, I can keep it short. So when I had my last falling out with Dr. Dre, it was kind of like a mutual agreement, like, yo man, I have no place here. Like, we have 8 to 10 artists signed to the label. No one's coming out. We almost had an album coming out. The Firm album dropped. It did all right. It didn't do to our expectations of Dr. Dre. Eminem comes in and saves the label. At that point, none of my artists that are on the label are getting any love.
Are you A&R?
Yeah, I was head of A&R. And I said, you know what? I'm going to focus on my DJ career, because I've always been a DJ throughout all of this, and that's how you found me, and that's how Dr. Dre met me, from DJing, and he's like, yo, you're the shit. And, me and AM are friends at this time. This is, later 90s and things. And I had a BMW that I got from Dr. Dre money and had a bunch of other stuff. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to go off and figure something out. Fuck this. I never spoke about this because I signed a confidentiality agreement with Dr. Dre. I didn't know that expired in 7 years. So it's been way past 7 years, so we could talk about this shit. So he wrote me a check for $100,000. I've never had a check like that in my entire life. Remember, this is like 98, 99. I go to the fucking bank and I try to cash it. And the bank lady is like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to come back like in maybe 2 days. You can't, we don't have this here. And I was like, what do you mean? That's a bank, He says, you're watching too many movies. We have to have cash for everyone. We can't just give you everything. So I was like, what are you talking about? I want my cash. It was funny. So I decided to start a bank account there at that bank. At that time, there was a conflict of interest inside the company. My attorney, Peter Paterno, was Dr. Dre's attorney. So that was also
That's a conflict, yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't there anymore. I had Peter. I was like, hey, listen, try to get me a job. Low key, there's a conspiracy. People say things all the time like, hey, this is this and this is that, and people are blackballed. I think I was being blackballed. I never spoke about this ever in my life, ever, on any podcast, on any interview ever. But I assumed I was being blackballed because I couldn't get a job.
You couldn't get a gig as a DJ anymore.
No, I couldn't get a gig as DJing is different. Okay. I was the man. People wanted me to be in there as a record executive, as a record person. I couldn't get a job, and I had a lot of platinum albums. And people were out there flourishing, making fun of me. I see people going out there like, hey, we're going to Miami, we're going this and going that. I had a corporate credit card to go do that. Now it's my own money. It's not easy for me to go do what I need to do and maneuver in the streets. So what do? I go buy, a brand new SUV with TVs in it and 20-inch wheels and blah, blah. When I shouldn't. I should be saving and trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to go in business myself. I'm going to start a management company. I'm going to grab some producers, blah, blah, whatever. So I grabbed 2 producers from Dr. Dre's camp that left. We started doing some work here and there, but really it wasn't as easy as I thought. We weren't incorporated. We didn't have like certain things, we just did it completely, not even like unorthodox. It was just completely unprofessional and everything, Hey, we'll have this company, we'll have them write this thing out to this, and we'll start a bank account. And I didn't know you can't go to the bank and be like, I want a company called MASH Entertainment. Okay, well, where's your LLC and where's your business? Where's your articles of this? And I was like, what all that? I had no idea. I was so uninformed.
Right.
Bottom line is, I had no real job, even though DJing is a real job, don't get me wrong, but it was cash on the table. So I was living like a drug dealer. I was living cash on the table, not paying taxes, whatever it may be.
And not knowing when your next cash deposit would be.
I did know because I was DJing 3-4 nights a week, so the money was good there, but it wasn't for my lifestyle again. Now I have no one to back me up. I have no advances to take from a label. I have nothing. At least there, I can charge a meal at fucking, at Cipriani's or wherever I would need to go and be like, I'm here with Nas.
Yeah.
I want to charge a meal, I'm going to write it off. I was literally, I would say that money went within 7-8 months.
The $100,000?
Yeah.
Why did he give you $100,000 to leave? Like, was it a severance?
It was a severance.
Okay.
And he said, I want no hard feelings.
Right.
But meanwhile, I was going to different labels. Yeah. And these meetings got real funny. And I said, okay, I have to decipher. Are these people that want to fuck with me? Or is it because of Dre? Like, it was weird.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't let anybody know that. I was embarrassed. I'm trying to keep up, a certain lifestyle. So I was dating this girl. She didn't make a ton of money, but she made money. I would say she had helped me pay car notes sometimes because I was like down in the dumps. I had never asked my mom for money ever. My parents never helped me. It got to the point where I was like, hey man, I need to borrow $3,000. My mom was pretty embarrassed, and she was like, wow, I went to your office, you had 30, 40 people under you, blah blah, like, when are you gonna find a job? And I was like, Mom, don't worry about this, and this is a crucial part in my life.
What did you need $3,000 for?
I had to pay my car payments were behind.
Wow. On this SUV with TVs in it.
This was the BMW.
Okay.
So,
but you're already living this lifestyle.
Yeah. So I lose my apartment.
Wow.
Now I have at least 150 crates. So I have insane amount of records, like crazy amount of records.
For kids listening, this is pre-Serato. You have to
way pre-Serato. Yeah.
You have to have crates of records.
Yeah, like heavy.
Right.
30, 40 pounds, and think about, having 7-8 crates at a club.
Yeah.
You have to have a car, you have to have transportation or someone to bring you there. It's a process. It's a process, a movie.
Yeah.
So all in all, real quick, I lose my apartment. I had to find out where to put the records. I'm able to store them at a friend's house, and with the exception that he has access to them, which sucks because records are like my gold. So pretty much my rotation of my 8 go where with me, and I move in with my sister. I never spoke about this before. My sister was already somewhat successful. She had a house and she was doing well, and she's like, hey, you don't need to pay any rent here, you're my little baby brother. She was about to start her life and get married and everything. She's older than me, significantly. Not significantly, she's 5 years older than me. And but think, and it's 27. If she's 33 or 34 and I'm 27, I'm trying to get my, I'm like trying to still figure out myself, and I don't even know if I'm accepting my mortality on this world and what my purpose is. She's already established and ready to go. Like, she doesn't have time for my bullshit. Right. I'm bringing chicks over, doing this. And she's like, I need to set your own phone line up. I was using a scam. It was really bad. I was doing a low income housing phone line. This is before cell phones were like really accessible, and all this stuff. My sister's like, Ben, you have a BMW outside. Like, why are you doing low income housing? Like, can you get rid of the car? I was like, Gene, I can't. You know what I mean? I have to have this. Yeah. So at a certain point, I lost the car. I lost everything, and I was living with my sister. And I was renting a car from a buddy of mine, and I was going to my gigs that way. Things got real bad, and I just tried to somehow just keep the persona of this guy, Ben Baller.
What year is this?
This is 1999. This is 2000. I'm sorry.
2000. Okay.
2000. I was broke. I was living with my sister. Maybe 100 square foot room. Mm-hmm. So it was like whatever. I had like it was mostly shoes and like I made it work. I think about it now. Yeah, I made it. The crates were in the garage. So
there's an aspect here about being Asian too. Right, like I think there's some people listening like, what's so bad about moving in with your sister?
Yeah.
But as an Asian male or a minority, let's say, with immigrant parents, it's like a major ego trip.
100%.
Right, like you really are putting your ass in your fucking tail and like.
And I can't really let people know, like when people are like, yo, where's your crib at? Where you live? Blah blah. I'm just like, oh no, but, I just kind of avoided that question.
Yeah. Okay.
Eventually, I can't pay insurance on my car anymore. This was a weird time in life. This was right before, no one steals cars anymore. There's no money in it, okay? This was right in that cusp. I wake up one morning and my car's stolen.
Holy shit!
And I had no insurance.
Oh, wow.
So with that said, I'm getting letters from the company. And they're like, hey, what's going on with the car, blah, 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 whatever, insurance. And I'm just avoiding it. At that point, they put a lien on my name for like $60,000 baby, and I had no insurance, had nothing. My credit was fucking destroyed because of that, right?
Like negative.
Negative. Like it was bad that point as well. So
you lost a leased car.
I lost a lease car.
That was uninsured.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be leased. It's supposed to be insured because they'll take your lease away, whatever. Yeah. I just finessed it, but I just was just not hitting anybody up. Car gets stolen. I lose my car. I said, all right, dude, I'm like destitute now. You know what I mean? Like now I'm really I don't have any, like the only thing I do have is my mind, my body and any talent I have with the gift of my mouth. Mm-hmm. I'm still DJing. I can't make all my gigs. So I'm giving DJs who are coming up gigs of mine. These DJs are pretty big now. And they're taking my gigs and listen, you're going to give me $100 from your gig because I'm giving you this. Like, that's cool. They're excited to get the gig.
Yeah.
I was able to make my Friday and Saturday. That was the easier gigs to make. Weekdays were impossible to get because people couldn't get around. So a buddy of mine from the hood, he was selling drugs. And he's like, yo, man, if you want to do this, I can give you $5,000 for this much. And I was like, holy shit, fuck DJing, I'm going to do this. So I got involved in drug dealing. Mm. And
so in 2000, you're a broke, homeless, kind of on the run from the bank.
Yeah.
Drug dealer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not only that, I might have had $300 at a time here and there. I really didn't have any money at all.
Yeah.
I had to go back into getting more music or getting this. I was lucky to be a big DJ, so I was getting serviced by record companies, whatever. And that was weird because where's the record's going to go? I had no real mailing address. It just was fucked up.
Yeah.
My sister's house was like not. It just was. It was a tricky situation. And so I transitioned. I started doing this. I started doing the drug dealing thing until people started getting caught. And people started going to jail, and I was like, "What the fuck you think's going to happen?" This was big, and plus we were doing it in LA. We were doing all the stuff in LA, but the business was in Atlanta, was in Ohio, a lot in Ohio. So flying to Ohio a lot. I had all the time in the world. I was young. I had no money. I had no responsibilities. I had a DJ.
Yeah.
So as long as I come back by Friday and Saturday, I'm good. So meanwhile, we ended up making this whole experience into a feature film. Me and my cousin made a real movie out this called Cake, and it was based on like 90% true stories. Mm-hmm. But again, that's broke, okay? Now, we don't have to go back to the teenage years or the college years when I was broke or anything else, because that's not interesting, really. It's everyone's broke in college, yeah. Unless you have rich parents. This was interesting because I never shared this before, that I was broke at that time. So, again, somehow I had like 30 pairs of shoes, and I just kept all those shoes. Little did I know later that they would help me out. Some of these were rare Jewel, Swoosh, Air Force Ones. These kids don't know what the hell a Jewel, Swoosh, Air Force One is, and I had some shoes that I kept.
Yeah.
That was currency, you know what I mean? That was like currency. So I got an apartment. No one knows this either. I lived in the Valley. Uh-huh. The Valley is kind of like it's kind of like living in Long Island. You say, "Oh, I'm from New York, man. Where you live?" "Oh, I live in Long Island." Right. And not like anywhere cool. We're talking about like Long Island.
Yeah.
Joe LaPuma, if you listen to this, Joe LaPuma, I love you, bro. I'm not talking shit. But like the Valley's kind of like, it's just not me, I'm like, I'm an LA kid.
It's disconnected.
I go to the Valley, yeah. And I start building like a little bit up again. And then, man, you know, I fuck around and I pretty much spend all my money again. So I have to resort to DJing again. Being an idiot, I decided to go get a real nice car. So I get a Benz. Somehow, some way, I find a place that is doing like 30 or 40% financing. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like, you know, like a Lamborghini now, the average for someone with really good credit, you might get like a 2.5-3% finance rate. 4 is still good. So imagine fucking 40% on a Benz. I had to have this car. I felt like this car was going to make me more money. It was going to get me bitches. It was going to get this, that, and the third. I was living all the way wrong.
Okay, you see that now.
Yeah. I get in a car accident.
Oh, God.
And I don't have insurance on the car again. So now I have another lien within 3 years, and this time it's for like 100.
How are you not in jail at this point?
Yeah, I mean, really, they should have put me in jail, you know. And I was able to work certain things out. I had friends. I had a lot of barter. I've been the king of barter since fucking way back. I'm still the king of barter now. And I was like, wow, how am I going to pay this off? I'm not going to. And I haven't paid taxes in 3 years. I'm just going to blah, blah, whatever. And even if I were to pay taxes, there's nothing, like, I'm so upside down, it wouldn't matter, you know, like, what are they going to do, give me negative and then give me back? So, all within a short amount of time.
Okay, sorry, just need to interrupt here for a sec. If you follow Ben on social media, you can see the lifestyle this dude now lives today. But as you can hear him recount his history, and it wasn't really that long ago, we're talking 2000, 2001, this dude has no money to his name. He's living check to check. He's running from the bank. He has no insurance, and then he turns to dealing drugs to make ends meet. I want you to imagine where his head was at back then, and where his head is at today. The lesson here is that no matter how bleak it may look, times change, and you can change. And sometimes the tipping point might just be around the corner, and it might, in fact, come in the form of a sneaker.
I started Nike Talk around 2000, and the shoe thing was helping me out. Small time businesses here and there. I was doing, you know, slanging some kicks here and there just to get kicks.
Yeah.
And then I finally started making a little bit of money. And thanks to Nike Talk, you know, it was a community. And
this is like pre-Flight Club, pre-Stadium Goods.
Oh, way. Bro, this is when Domaney... If you know what Domaney...
Yeah, Domaney Flight Club.
This one Domaney...
VintageKicksUSA.
VintageKicks.com. This one Domaney was telling me, yo, I'm jumping in the car right now. I'm going to Minnesota. Then I'm going to Detroit. And then I'm going to Florida. And I'm like, for what? Because I'm about to get these year of Air Force Ones. You know when they did like the year of the Chinese New Year? Or do like random things, Acorns. He found out there was this. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, yeah, man. And this is when he was like partnered up and working with Ricky's in New York, you know, Ricky's NYC. And it was just a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah, this is how shoes were moving before Stadium Goods Kicks.
Before the internet really had, like, you know, where you could get, you know, and I was the first person to ever post a stockroom pic. That stockroom pic, and it became banned on Nike Talk. No more stockroom pics. It's no good for nothing. Metamouse, all this shit. I got the jump that SB dunks were coming. We had already made the dunks hot. I will take full responsibility. Me, Rev, a few other people, we really made these dunks, like, dunks were the shit. Yeah. And it was mostly because of Japan, because they had the COJP versions. And we're like, listen, any dunk that came out at Foot Action had their own exclusive ones, they were sold out in minutes. It was such a big deal. Undefeated hadn't opened yet. Dunks were huge. Yeah. So when they're making a completely new line of dunks called the SB Dunk, and they're doing New York Knicks colors, doing this and all these other cool things, I was like, are you kidding me? It wasn't really much rocket science. I figured out that Val Surf, Rip City, any real skate shops were going to have these shoes. Yeah. Anything too congested in LA, I avoided. Okay. I went all the way, even upwards to Modesto, Sacramento, all the way down to San Diego.
Yourself?
Yes. I went to 40 stores.
To scoop shoes?
They said at one point, someone had said, they estimate from Nike, they said they probably estimated I had about 40 to 45% of all the existing Nike SB Dunks that
the
ever
inventory.
Released. The first series ever of all the super everything. So I posted a picture in my living room, and people were like, what the fuck? Like, they've never seen anything like that before. It looked like a shoe store.
Yeah,
I just
a warehouse.
You know, when people do it now, whatever, but this is, 2000, 2003.
Yeah,
people
and no
seeing this.
Amazon Prime shipping. Like, you're going in a car and scooping these
now,
all
there's
up.
a crazy part. I used my girlfriend's credit card to do all these. And she's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, babe, I'm going to give you money on top of this.
I was just about to ask you, how are you going to buy all these shoes?
Yeah.
You use your girlfriend's credit card.
Yeah. And I used everything else. I had my cash and everything. But the thing is, the trick was, all right, we're going to sell half of these, and half of these never existed. They're going to sit back. And she's like, what? I was like, I'm just taking a chance. They're just never going to exist.
These are investments.
Yeah. So I sold everything immediately for like maybe $150, $100 a premium on top of the shoe, made money, gave her money. She was really happy. And she's like, let's do this again. And I was like, all right, well, we'll just wait. Eventually later, I ended up making a shit ton of money on the extra back stock because supers were gone. People were tripping. I'm talking about beyond the hype and everything. Then it was like, all right, you know, people didn't forget about it. It was just like you couldn't get them.
Yeah. So these are like the Danny Supas, the Reese Forbes, the chocolates, right? Like
Gino Iannucci, and then also Richard Mulder.
Yeah.
So I have a skate background too, you know what I mean? So people are like, man, fuck you, Ben Ball. You think you know about everything. I was like, I don't know everything. I just happen to know about music, skateboarding, cars, and certain things and shit, and I'm cool with these people, you know? Like, and that got me a lot out of debt.
Wow.
And then Nike approached me, do some marketing with them, and that helped me out too. Mm-hmm. So slowly but surely, I stopped doing the drug dealing, stopped doing everything else, and I got really involved with Nike. I was really excited to do all this shit. And then just like music, the business of Nike turned me off completely. And I don't even care at this point if they don't like this and they look at this and I'm just being truthful.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? The business of Nike turned you off? The politics?
The speech, the grammar, the etiquette, Ben, we saw that you came in the office today wearing a polo. And I was like, okay. He goes, we make polos here. So that's directly competition. Please don't ever wear a polo in the office again. Mm-hmm. You know, blah, blah. Okay. Ben, we noticed that you put that we're going to have a party at the Blue House. Nike doesn't do parties. We do events. And it was just going on and on and on. And there's just other shit and there's political and just all this stuff. And I was like, man, fuck this. Meanwhile, me and Meth Amphibian, who was, you know, a big deal back in the day.
Yeah.
Meth and me had a company. We had Meth Amphibian. We got our own shoe through Nike. We're going to do a Terminator. And the process was such a fucking jerk. It was like a jerk. And later on, I found out that's just what it was. A cartoon told me, a bunch of people told me this is what it is to get a shoe. And I was like, you know what, man? I think, one, my ego was way too big. I had way too much entitlement. Sounds like all these little millennials now. I finally woke the fuck up and realized, yo, you know what? Maybe I'm a little bit crazy. Meanwhile, fuck them, fuck Nike, fuck everyone. I said, I'm sick of everyone. I just got sick of the business, got sick of the shoes, got sick of the way they were doing shit. Uh-huh. They were like, man, fuck this. They're saying everything's unlimited edition. They say it's limited edition, it's unlimited. They're just pouring out shoes. And I said, there's no way I can survive selling sneakers anymore because it's just everyone's doing it. There's just too much. Yeah. I'm over it.
And what year is this?
04.
Okay.
So I put all my sneakers up. Through Yahoo auctions in Japan. I had a friend named Hiroshi who owned a store called Essence in Yokohama, which I helped make famous. Back in the day, Hawaiian Mike was doing LTD magazine. Mm-hmm. When we did LTD, he had his back where he had like the glossary of all the dope stores across the world. I'm sorry. Yeah. And Essence was in there solely because I think me and Meth Amphibian made that store famous. Mm-hmm. They started doing well. They didn't even have a Nike account. They were just a traditional, like reseller.
Yeah.
So. And that still didn't even exist in LA yet. You know what I mean? Domani was the first one to really bring it here. So Hiroshi helped me sell about 60% of my collection. Mm-hmm. Then the 40 of my major goods went on eBay. That went 130, 140 pages on Nike Talk. It went general forum, which went crazy. And I was like, I'm selling my fucking collection. Meanwhile, some dude named Steven, I won't even say his last name.
Okay.
But he dropped over $2 million on my sneakers, and somehow, some way back then, I don't know how it was with tax or anything, but eBay was different. PayPal wasn't checking your, you didn't have to have your social security number in there. There was a lot of things that were going on that were unregulated. Bottom line is, it
was almost like cash.
Yeah. So I had that money.
Over $2 million.
Yeah. And on top of that, I had money from before, and I'm back now.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, who is a huge model, is traveling all over the world, billboards everywhere. She's a big model, and I get engaged, and I think I'm going to get married. And at that point, I was my ego came back, my big head and everything. I was doing I had motorcycles. I thought I was cool, whatever. And I had lost sight about my relationship. She leaves to Milan in Germany for like a modeling shoot and everything, and I'm out fucking around in the streets, not caring. At that point, right then and there, she had made it up in her mind that I'm not coming back to live with you, and I don't want to be with you anymore. I didn't realize how serious it was until she got back. When she got back, she had been telling me a bunch of shit she wanted me to do. I hate living in this place. I hate this. I want to get this, and this done, or whatever. And it was all like shit that I should be doing to grow up.
Yeah.
Why would I want to grow up? I don't want to grow up. Fuck that. By the time it was too late, I moved out. I got a condo in Beverly Hills. You know, I started doing all these things, and it was too late at that point. And it was learning this. I lost that, and that was more important than losing money. Everything. I was so depressed. I was like, wow, I really lost a good thing.
Yeah.
Life blesses you in weird ways because I live a blessed life now.
So you survived music, you survived drugs, you survived DJing. Now you're out of the sneaker game. You're sitting on a good amount of money.
And I'm depressed.
And you're depressed.
I decided to just take anyone I can get a hold of. Buddy of mine said, hey man, I'm about to go to fucking to Australia. Hey, I've never been. Can I go with you? I'll pay for everything. Right. You know, boom. I pay for my shit. I go. I just start traveling the world. At one point I come back. I'm like, damn, all this traveling, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And then I think about it and I say, hey, listen, man. In a grown man, honest voice, what I'm doing right now will be cool for 3-4 years. I always put in these timelines on me, or this cushion. After that, what do I do? I can't go DJ.
Yeah.
I could maybe sell sneakers. You know, I can't go back to the music business. It's just not going to happen. You know, and whatever. I've created all my own jobs for the last few years.
Yeah.
I need to figure out something next. Do I buy a business? I don't know what to do. And I started panicking.
Ben's life is a roller coaster at this point. I mean, he went from rags to riches in a crazy short amount of time. We hear him recount going from $300 in his pocket to selling his collection of Nike SBs for over $2 million. Then subsequently losing his fiance and going into a depression and having what amounts to a midlife crisis. But maybe that crisis was the best thing that could happen to him. It was the wake-up call his mind needed to think beyond the day-to-day and start thinking about Ben, the man.
Eventually I fell into jewelry, and I've told this story a million times, but I went into jewelry, you know, but even still with jewelry, a lot of people don't know about this, you know, like, I got an issue with IRS, you know, and, you know, it was to the millions. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, man, this is fucking crazy, you know.
For not paying taxes on that money.
No, not on that, just other stuff. I'm saying even being a successful person, you're talking about people who don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I have a business manager, I have a financial advisor, you know, I have an agent, I have a manager, I have people now. I always thought I don't need any of these people. I don't need an assistant. I have an assistant that does things part-time. But I started realizing I've gotten so big, there's no way I can handle this myself. It's going to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
I need to be relieved of some of these duties, but the trust is so crazy, you know. But then you think like, hey, listen, there's people out there with $70, $80 million, $300 million, $1 billion, and they have these people who look at their money. So just barely getting out of the tax situation, and I'm not worried about it because one, I'm like certified, I'm legit, everything's done by the book.
Yeah.
And I have nothing but blessings. I have businesses that are doing great. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm killing it and everything else. So what this whole story of what I'm telling you about is that these kids now, they have no fucking idea. They have a life expectancy of 45 days. You know, they're microwave era music, they're just fast food, you know, fast food music. You know, they're just not thinking. And don't get me wrong, I still live, I have my issues and whatever, but they're never thinking about 10 years from now. They're living it from now, which is great. People say you should live for now. You'll live better if you enjoy the moment. That's cool. When you have kids, you can't just do that, have that luxury to be like, I'm just going to fuck this. I'm going to do what I want to do tonight. I'm going to, I live once. I'm just going to buy a car today or whatever. I went through all that. Yeah. I have nightmares and wake up like, oh my God, what if I become broke? I'm never going to lose that wealth ever. I refuse to. Do you know? I have money I have money spread apart. Like I just won't. My kids have to be good. I don't care about me so much. I have everything I need.
Yeah.
But I look back. It's funny, I'm here now. I said 3 days ago on Twitter, this guy's like, oh man, when I get depressed, I get in my car and drive, listen to music. My wife stopped getting on my case about this because she thought, man, what are you doing? Are you talking to girls? Like, what are you doing? I don't get it, because you leave for like 3 hours. I would go through so much overwhelming like stress that I would get in my car.
Yeah.
And I would go back to my neighborhood where I grew up, where it is fucking shit. Motherfuckers are getting killed. It's very gentrified now, but my building is still there, and I'll just drive in front of my building and I'll park right at the side, and I'll just sit there and stare at it for about an hour.
Wow.
And just reflect and like, yo, man, I would run across the street and they had this 99-cent burger, not a fucking fast food burger, but a burger, and it was delicious. And I would go and get fish and chips, and I would go get and this was my life. Like, I was so excited. Like, I would go turn on Saturday Night Live. Like, it was like what my interest and what made me happy back then was so crazy.
Yeah.
And now I have a $500,000 McLaren, that came in, and I'm upset because the guy put the wrong tires on it. And the crazy part is the tires can be done within 24 hours, 36 hours at worst. And I don't want the car anymore because that tire thing pissed me off that bad. And it just messed up my brain. Yeah. Like, things like that. And people are like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I've just gone into this Rain Man thing where I've almost become an idiot savant. And, I've manifested everything that I wanted, right? And I got it. And now I'm like, all right, let me just focus on my family. Yeah. And that's the only thing that's making me happy now. And last night, my buddy hit me, and he's like, one thing's, better when we were broke. And I was like, yeah. And this is a guy who's a protege of mine who I made a millionaire. And he's like, so would you go back? And I was like, dog, I would never go back. Mm-hmm. I can't, I have kids. You don't have kids yet, And he's like, so what do you do? And I'm like, bro, I gotta keep doing this until I'm really making money while I sleep, and while you sleep, I'm getting paid. Yeah. And that's where the real money is. When you're sleeping, you're still getting money. They're saying, like, I would always hear, like, Oprah makes, $1,100 a second, blah, 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 whatever. So by the time she wakes up, she's made this much. So I'm like, all right, I need to get there. Jonas, rest in peace.
Jonas of LRG.
Bavakwa, Jonas of LRG, I remember when he did his little tour at one point, it might have been 07 to 08, and he did his thing at Reed Space for the New York part of it, and I couldn't make it. He hit me up and got on the phone. And I was like, where you calling me from? And he called me on a hotel phone, you know what I mean? He called me on a cell phone. He called me, I was like, what's up? He's like, man, I remember just literally, he lived in a trailer park. I don't know if you know that. He lived in a trailer park. He was broke too, and he was thinking about times then, and just a beer, going, oh, there's a kegger. Let's go to a kegger. Let's just do this. And we were just talking, and he said, you know what, man? I was like, what's up? He goes, I've calculated in my brain every possible way and how long it would take to become a billionaire. And I come to the conclusion it's not possible. And he said, I'm depressed about it, so I'm going to go get fucked up and whatever. And I was like, is that why you call me, really? I was like, you fucking bitch, I'm just trying to get 100 million, you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to get $1 billion, fuck this. He's already achieved the 100 million. So I was like, man, fuck this, we hang up, whatever, blah, blah. And we would go back and think about that. And, I always try to look at my life on a daily basis, where we're sitting at right now, wherever it may be. I love the finer things in life, and I experience it for sure. But I also try to stay grounded. Do you know what I mean? I try to stay, like, I'm in the lobby right now. 2 dudes are sitting there waiting for my car. Like, hey, man, we're big fans. And I'm not trying to be a dick anymore, but I'm just like, I'm on the phone dealing with some drama. And I think back, and people are probably like wondering, like, what the fuck is he doing at this hotel? This is not the Four Seasons or the Ritz. Yeah. And then people see me at Target, and they're like, yo, what are you doing at Target? I'm like, I got kids. What the fuck you think I'm doing at Target? I got to get diapers. I have to get fucking toys. Like, where else am I going to go? Is there a Barney's for diapers? Like, no, dude, what the fuck? Like, people really don't get it. Like, it's crazy, and for the most part, like, I still love diners. I still love going to liquor stores. I still love going to regular people's shit, and I don't want to lose that. Yeah. I remember Eminem telling me, like, yo, I can't even go to the grocery store. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if I have to go to the grocery store, I go. But I do think about it. I have a housekeeper. I have a nanny. I have someone who does that for me. But
you want to have the ability to.
I still go if I need to go. I'm gonna go in there and grab something. Oh, I need to go grab some mac and cheese. I'm gonna grab it. Whatever. Like, Eminem can't go to the movies. He can't do things. And I'm like, wow. It's crazy because it's gotten to that level for me. But having somewhat of the humble mentality, I should still be able to go to a place that sells wings for $7 and not have anybody fuck with me because of whatever. Like, why? I'm not, dog. I grew, like, I don't want to. Of course, I can be at fucking, Ginza Sushi Co., at like, what is it, $3,000 a seating for omakase or something, you know what I mean? Or be at the Hotel Paris and they have suites for $100,000 a night. But a lot of that shit I just don't enjoy. Some of it I do. I get it. I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong. I have a little bit of a culinary taste in me, and I grew up around foodies, but I'm still, I still want to have that hood Korean food and things like that, and still be attached to that. But, I don't think I could enjoy it as much if I didn't have my money in order, my business in order. Everything has to be in order because that's where it all roots from. It's fucked up. Yeah. So, I have less time for friends. I have less time for even my family. So my most important things right now are making sure all my businesses are well oiled. They're all running well. Everything is in order and everything is kosher. Because Ice-T is one of my mentors, and he's also the producer of my new TV show, which I guess I'll talk about another time. He said something really powerful one time. He said, at a certain point, if you're dealing on drugs or you're doing something illegal, you're doing scams, you're robbing people, whatever it may be, at a certain point, you need to have a legitimate hustle. If you can't turn one of your hustles into something legitimate, you're never going to succeed. And there's never, ever in history has there ever been one good story of one single person, meaning whether it be Pablo Escobar or anybody else. It never ends well for a drug dealer. No matter how much money you make or anything else, there's never been one success story. Meaning at the end it happened, whatever. It's like, it's always a bad ending if you don't get out of it.
So it's like a scientific formula. Like, it will end badly.
Yeah.
You got to spin it properly.
Yeah. So I've just not necessarily become a square. I've taken the broke times, and those are the times that made me, and just keep pushing through. And I don't like watching movies like Pursuit of Happiness and things like that. Like, I watched it, I'm like, fuck, dude, I can't watch this dude struggle no more. I have, as much of a dick as I am online, I have such a big heart for things. Like, I feel bad for anybody. I give the homeless people money all the time. I don't give them everything I have, but I just feel bad. Yeah. And I watch these movies, these people are struggling, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm interested. And when I have discussions with people, when we go eat and certain things, I try to ask people, do you feel justified that this piece of fish, this toro right here is $90 for this 2 pieces of fish? No. And then I had the people who they've only grown up all their lives. They've grown up in generations of Forbes families and things like that. There's people who are really cool about it, and then people are like, ew, why would I ever go there, or certain things. And I just try to blend in that world, what I mean? I have such a motley, this whole melting pot of a circle, and I love it. But I am doing this for my kids, and it's a struggle every day because I have a rule where I try to go at least 2-3 weeks without buying them a toy. There's points where I go 7 days in a row and I get them a toy. I'm like, yo, what am I doing? This is so bad, this is really bad.
Yeah.
They go to a school that cost a fortune. It costs college tuition a year, and it's both of them. And I drop them off in a Ferrari, and I'm trying to be like, all right, well, fuck it. That's it. Fuck everyone that has anything to say. But then there's people that are there that are spending their good money because they want their kids to go to a good school. I'm like, but in kindergarten, you're paying $25,000 a year for kindergarten. This is crazy. And I go there, and then my son says, Daddy, let's go in the Ferrari. And I'm like, oh man, I wish you wouldn't say that. I'm embarrassed. My friend's like, you shouldn't be embarrassed. You work hard for it. I know, but my son shouldn't know. Like, I just feel like that's weird, and I want him to have some kind of, I want him to be grounded somehow, know? And then there's a whole other end of the spectrum, where I see like St. West is outside his gym where kids play, and there's 5 security guards there and like 2 sprinters, and I'm like, come on, man, like my kid can't live like this, know? And I'm not saying anything bad about Ye or Kim, but I'm just trying to set them up as much as possible so they don't have to go through this, because Ben Baller didn't come from being ballin'. Ben Baller came from playing basketball in college. That's where I got my name, what I'm saying? And then Baller stuck because I lived the baller lifestyle.
Yeah.
You can hear the tug of war in Ben's thought process. He came from nothing, worked hard, went back to nothing, then amassed moderate success and wealth, lost it again, and came back again. And hopefully this time for good. So you can't blame him for wanting to reap the rewards of this hard work. You can't blame him for wanting to offer his family a better life. But at the same time, you can understand why he's torn about offering that life to his kids. Because then it begs the question of whether he's properly equipping them to face life when they grow up. Some will say these are first-class problems, and they are. But if you got to first class by the sheer will of your own blood, sweat, and tears, then to me, it's a problem we should all be able to learn from.
What fears do you have now? What are your greatest fears now?
Not being able to see my kids grow up. That's the biggest fear of my life. I mean,
why would that happen?
No, I'm just saying
you're healthy.
No. What I'm saying is just I want to see, like, I felt like I had my kids. Okay, that's crazy. I felt like I had my kids late in life. You know, I had my first child at 39. A lot of my friends had their kids in their mid-20s and whatever else.
You want to see them grow and get married and fall in love.
Like really, you know. My health insurance, my life insurance guy told me the other day, he goes, hey, you know what's one of the biggest misconceptions now? That people are buying term insurance for like 20, 25 years and they're living longer. So they outlive their life insurance and they don't get their money, you know, or they're not making enough money. The retirement's not taking care of it. And I'm just like, all right, well, technically I could live a pretty humble life and retire today.
Yeah.
Never work again in my life.
Have you thought about that?
No, because then it would drive me crazy every single day driving a Prius or driving a Honda.
Why?
It would just drive me nuts. You know, I would get in that car and be like, yo, like, I don't know. Like, you know, like it's just something about.
There's a lifestyle that you can live right now where you don't have to work another day in your life.
I would make it to about 80 and my kids would make it to 20 something, 30, 25 without having to worry about, Oh, yeah, no, I gave myself 5 years. So when I turn 50, I don't want to work ever again in my life.
Okay.
And I want to maintain exactly what I'm doing now.
Maintain the lifestyle you have now.
Exactly what I do right now. And Jeff, people think that I live a crazy lifestyle. Now, again, I'm maybe a little jaded. I don't have 8 cars anymore. I have 5 cars, but still, I know it's crazy. I don't mind getting down to 3 cars, okay? I can have the family car. I could have my wife's car, which would be a really nice sedan or something, whatever else, and then I could have my exotic car. So we could figure that out, right? But for the most part, we still have our home cooked meals. We don't go out to eat as much, and we still like. It's like if we go out, we have kids, so it's like we can't go to like Mr. Chow's. You know what I'm saying? The kids don't like that food. They don't want that. You know, they want Chuck E. Cheese. They want Cheesecake Factory, whatever it may be. That's one big fear. I have a lot of fear. I have fears of my kids' safety. Just because. I post them a lot, and there's kidnappings. There's this, there's that. I shouldn't have this, but we live in a fucking crazy world.
Yeah.
Fears of I don't know, man. I think it has to do with mostly health and finance, But other than that, I really have not. I'm blessed.
Are you fearful for the youth? Like you talked about.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm fearful for that.
Because you talk about you hang out with a lot of young people. Your kids are going to be those young people.
I'm so scared for my kids. I hope the cycles have changed by the time they get up, because I speak at high schools now. And I was like, so what do you want? Because, man, I want a chain, man. And I'm like, bro, you got to inspire. And you want more in life than a fucking chain. I want that Ferrari, I want that Bentley, I want this, I want that. I'm like,
I did a talk once at a school, and I asked the kid, what's your dream? He's like, I want to own a room full of Jordans. I was like, you just want to own a room full of Jordans? Like, you don't, it wasn't even like I want to design a Jordan or I want to work for, I just want to own a room full of Jordans. I was like, you could do a lot better than that, man.
I mean, people say, when people tell me, hey, I want to be just like you, and I'm like, you don't want to be like me, man. I want to be better than me. I got stress up the ass, whatever. And stress, honestly, is what fuels me.
Yeah.
Which is sad. But I look at the youth, and I look at the way the kids are, and they have no respect for their elders. And, I know I was tough with my elders, but I respected them, I still, I just feel like they have zero respect. And there's now the gap is much bigger. I feel like it's like the rich and the poor, and the middle class is kind of gone.
Yeah. There's
the fucking respectful and the there's the OGs and then the kids, and there's no in between now. It's just like really, it's a scary place to live, man. We live, and the education, and like, I think like, okay, I think about, people don't care. They don't care about their and it's and their grammar and their grammatical errors and things. I actually get embarrassed about it just because I come from a family of education.
Yeah.
Not family of wealth, but education. My dad's professor at UCLA for 30 years. My brother's Mensa, Beyond, got a scholarship. My brother went to Andover. My sister went to Exeter. Nothing on money, was all on academic scholarships. I was the dude who went to jail. I went to 7 different fucking junior highs. I got kicked out of every school. I was in trouble all the time. Doesn't mean I was dumb.
Right.
But when I look at I'm so impressed when I hear someone's really a really deep vocabulary, and I'm like, wow, look at that word. I'm so impressed by that. People are like, you're impressed by that, and I'm like, I am, because they were able to say that and express themselves that word in a sentence. It sounds so fucking classy. It was crazy. And I remember I had a client who was like a king. He was royalty in Azerbaijan, and I was like, okay, I just immediately assumed it was Saudi Arabia. And people were like, you graduated college. I'm like, what the fuck does that? I didn't study geography or history in college. Like, why the fuck would I know that wasn't in Saudi Arabia or the Middle East? I was by Turkey or whatever. I just, it was a lot out there.
Yeah.
Ben gets on his soapbox here and discusses the widening gap of the youth and the adults. The lack of respect, the lack of responsibility, and even the lack of grammar. I can't help but think that while there is some truth to what he's saying, we also kind of sound like two old guys in a barbershop complaining. So if you're a kid under 25 listening to this, I want you to chime in and comment here. Are we sounding like your dad? Or do you find truth in this also? Whatever the case, he does follow up here with some truly solid advice. I often get asked what is the most crucial source of inspiration for me, and I always say travel. You need to get out and see the world. Knowing that life is bigger than you and bigger than your immediate environment is so critical. And for me, it needs to be a constant reminder.
One thing I think that if kids did, don't buy $1,000 pair of fucking college Jordans. Don't buy Brian's my boy, but go get a passport. Mm-hmm. Go visit the country every year, 1 year. You could do it for a surprisingly low amount of money if you just do it. I've been to 35 countries. I don't think I lived life until I started exploring the world and started seeing how poor, how rich, how people really live.
Yeah.
What the dollar really means and what this is and how people have fun. Some people don't have their phones. People have this, don't have that. You hear about a family member like, oh, well, I get a laptop, but we can't afford it. And I'm like, what? You're getting a laptop tomorrow,
Yeah.
And it changes their life. That little thing, and when you have kids, that's when I was like, whoa, my life just began all over again. Mm-hmm. Then you have another kid and life starts all over again. But as those kids happen, I'm like, fuck, that's another 10 years of work. You know what I mean? That's another, I got to pay for that. So I would hope that these kids can get educated to a certain point, finish fucking high school, Jesus Christ.
The problem is now, when you were growing up, you had a currency where you were trying to get money. Now I feel like with social media, there's like a new currency. If you're 14 and if you have 50,000 followers, you think you've made it already.
Yeah, you could sit on the couch and take a selfie for $100 or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And
it's a whole new commerce. So what do you say to those kids who are like, yo, I'm good. I got 50,000 followers.
You're fucking tripping.
I get free shoes. I get free,
Yeah, you're fucking tripping.
Why? Speak to them.
Listen, none of that's like monopoly money. Understand that it lasts. It's a very short lasted, short life expectancy. It's monopoly money, man. You can't go out there and cash in the real world. If you could know how to finesse it and manipulate, certain things, then yes, if you're able to get the right barter, then okay. But most of them aren't getting it, and they're cool with just having their gift certificates to Blaze Pizza because they did a shout out on their page. They did this. Yeah. It doesn't last forever.
Try buying a home with your Instagram account.
I mean, dude, you gotta think like the Silver Surfer. You have to spit a fucking wave and be like, psh, and when that wave is starting to run out, you got your other hand. Psh, you have to always find that second wave, third wave, fifth wave, and the limitless waves, and ride those waves. I've been very lucky. I did that on purpose. Knock on wood. I've been very lucky to remain relevant. People are like, oh, you're an old fuck. Well, I don't care about that shit when people say that shit online. I care that my kids eat 3 meals a day and they have snacks all throughout the day. And I think about how well fed they are. My mom did everything she could to raise me. But I think about it, I'm like, Jesus Christ, these guys are having snacks. They have snack time. They have this. They have this. I can't say no to my son, It's like so that's it's a big deal, and I don't want. I think a lot of these kids who have these things, a lot of them don't have supportive parents or don't have parents around at all. Mm-hmm. Not because they're working or because they're just not existing in their life, and that's sad too, And so marriage is the tough part, you know. Just that's all the hardest job in the world because I have to make sure that the house is in order, and people are like, why is it so important? And I'm like, because psychologically later, I realized why I had so much animosity growing up and why I had a lot of issues. And I still have maybe some psychological, hurt and pain from my parents got divorced, while I was in junior high, and why I rebelled and a lot of things that happened, why my parents didn't go to my games, but I still ended up being in college and getting a scholarship, playing ball and being Asian and doing that. And I'm proud of my accolades. And you know, my support system is the family I have. And if people can see that family can still happen, people think, oh, we could still be co-parents and this and that. I didn't say you couldn't. I'm just letting you know, in my mind, I know that this is a healthier environment for me to be in this situation. I'm not just anybody who has kids and don't want to be with their wife or not be married or whatever it may be. I'm just saying that the more I talk to my children and the more that I'm in their lives and I do everything I can for them, I know that's going to help them so much more. You know, I am going to have a talk with them eventually about failure. And I almost feel like the way I've been thinking about it, about them not going through failure and me helping them out, it might be a bad thing. So I'm thinking about rethinking it, and maybe they're too young to understand this. They wouldn't, this podcast is around, but I'm thinking about putting it in a trust.
Okay.
And putting it away.
Yeah.
Until they can figure it out, and they won't even know about it,
right.
And they wouldn't know about it.
You know what the other way is? You move to like some village in Japan or something, like an island, and you just make them chop coconuts and shit.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's crazy. You know, when I see like, I'm in the Philippines, and I'm in Boracay, and I'm on islands, beautiful, and I'm in Station 1.
Sure.
I'm Shangri-La, you know, 5-star hotel resort, and I'm getting 2 women are giving me an hour-and-a-half massage, 90-minute massage. Not an 80 or 70 minute like Burke Williams and try to call it 90. I'm talking about a real 90 minute massage. 2 women, then getting a pedicure and a manicure, and then paying them $25.
Literally, yeah.
And it's 2 women, and then they're doing this and everything. And then you get an hour massage for like $10, 2 women. And it's like, yo, you have to be kidding me.
Yeah.
The amount of money. And you see like someone's salary is like $150, $200 a month, and they're working hard in a month. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and you get shit, you put shit in perspective. You're like, yo, I should move here. No, never. I'm saying it's, you know, that's a bad way to think. But I'm saying like, you know,
I could buy an island here.
It's scary, you know. So it's just like I've always lived for the day or the week, as long as I get past this week or that week. Now my problem is I'm thinking too far ahead. I'm like, all right, 10 years ahead, 20 years, boom, okay, I'm gonna do with this. All right, if I calculate this, boom, all right, cool, check this out. My monthly bills, roughly $61,000 a month. All right, let me get this down to like $45,000 a month.
Your monthly expenditure. So if you make $61,000 a month, you have $0.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If I make $60,000 a month, I don't eat. That's before I eat a chicken sandwich.
Okay.
It's 61.
So
$61,000.
there's like utilities, mortgage, rent, cars.
Yeah. Well, there's rent, multiple rents, tuition, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, taking care of other stuff.
Okay. Wow. So if you make $60K a month, you don't eat. You got to make more than that to have a chicken sandwich.
Well, yeah, I have to eat. So, I mean, yeah. So that's what it. So let's say I'm saying like, okay, I could easily get down to 45 grand, right? Then if I do, boom, I calculate. All right. So let's just do 20 years from now. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what this number is. I do it all the time, and I'm like, all right. So what if I get down to 30? And I'm like, I can't get down to 30, right? I can get down to 30. Let me get down to 30. If I get down to 30, right? Let's say I get down to it and I find a place where I can put a lot of money up for whatever. I calculate that money that was put for the down, and I have an $8,000 mortgage with property tax and everything and homeowners insurance and everything, right? And I say, all right, boom, I get down to 7. All right, boom, I get this. I could get to 30. Okay, cool. Okay, that's when I can retire and really never work again for, you know, if I live to be 85 or 90.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man. Let me try to figure this out, you know, and try to.
You're crazy.
Yeah, it is.
You just drive yourself crazy doing that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll sit there and be like, yo, listen, I'll justify it with my wife. I'm like, babe, I don't want to buy this movie on Amazon. Like, why the fuck am I pay $17.95? This is just ridiculous. I'll never, ever, ever, ever. I will order more room service than anybody in the world. I will never touch the fucking amenity, fucking cocktail fridge. I will never touch that.
Like $6 for this Avion?
My cousin goes there, and we go to a hotel. We'll be in the Wynn, and he'll open everything in the fridge. I'm like, why, bro? Why?
Yep.
I get everything before I go in there, just because. And on top of that, their selection isn't really what I want anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I'll do room service all day. That justify that, but that is crazy. And then she's like, "You just bought a $500,000 car." And you're really tripping on fucking a $17.95 movie on Amazon? I'm like, yeah. And I thought about it, and I finally put it in perspective. I said, you know what? If we go to the movies right now, it's going to be $100 for me and you go. But I feel like some endorphins have got out, and I feel better.
Yeah.
We're sitting in the house. No, when it gets to $12.95, I'll buy it. And she's like, I'm gonna buy it. And it just things like that happen, and it's crazy, you know. And like the other day, I had a battle. I was like, yo, a buddy of mine gave me an iPad for Christmas. It was a 2017 9.7 iPad. Mm-hmm. It's not the Pro. And I was on a plane. I don't even say who, but I was on a plane with a very influential figure. We're on first class flying from Miami, and I pull out my iPhone 8 Plus. I have a 10, but I have 8 Plus for just Amazon and Netflix. First class TV was cool, but I have all my downloaded shit on my, you know, my everything's on there.
Yeah.
So I pulled it out of my lap and I'm looking at it. This guy's sitting right next to me in first class, and he's like, opens up his backpack, pulls out the 12.9 iPad Pro. I've never seen it in person like that right there in front of me. This shit looked like a miniature plasma screen.
Yeah.
And I got angry because he started watching his Netflix shit. He started watching Black Mirror, I'm like,
and the glare is just like hitting your face.
Really like a plasma screen though. Like, and I was like, yo, are you kidding me? I was like, let me see this thing, you know? And I couldn't believe the processor was fast. So I go to the Apple store and I'm sitting there. I even go on Twitter. I'm like, hey, does anyone have this? Should I buy it? Blah, blah. And I have this thing there. And my iPad is still in the box. I haven't even opened it. It's not even plastic. I can't return it though. Yeah. So I'm just thinking like, my kids have iPads. What am I going to do? I talked myself out of not buying that thing when 3 people were offered to buy it for me for free. You'd be like, hey, listen, I didn't get you for Christmas. I'll get it for you. No. I was just like sitting there over stupid shit like that. I drive myself crazy or dumb things like that, you know? And it's just like...
Why do you drive yourself crazy over that shit?
I don't know. It's so crazy. And like, I have a client...
And then you leave the Apple store and sit in your Ferrari and go home. But you didn't want to splurge on
I got in the Tesla, and I was in my Tesla, and I drive home. And then my cousin calls me and goes, hey, man, this guy wants to do a trip. He wants to do this little like interview for you. He wants to buy this thing from you. And I was like, no, my kids are sick. I'm just down the street, so it's okay. And he goes, man, he really wants to buy this watch. And I'm like, okay, so sell it to him. And I was like, what's our cost on it? And he's like 34. And I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? He goes, he wants to pay $40 for it. And I was like, sell it for $40,000. Fuck it. Me and you will get $3,000 each. I'm not really tripping about it. Oh, actually, well, if he pays with a credit card, we have to pay tax and whatnot. I was like, dude, just give him the watch. I don't want to meet this guy.
Yeah.
And he goes, then he's like, I can't explain to you over the phone. I guess I can talk. He's like, uncomfortable. I was like, why don't you text me then?
Okay.
And he goes, no, I need you to come down. I was like, I can't. And he goes, he's going to give you $20,000 if you take a picture with him, do a video for him. And I'm like, so he's going to pay $60,000. He's like, no, he's going to pay $40,000 for the watch, but he's going to give you $20,000 to come down here and sell him the watch personally. I don't even tell my wife. If she's calling, whatever it may be, I go on my Instagram story. I'm like, yo, listen, this is a situation. I just got played like a little prostitute and blah, 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 whatever. But now I can get my iPad Pro and whatever, blah, blah. So I go there, I deal with this. It ended up being a 45-minute ordeal. This was just a couple days ago. And I come back and I get the money and I'm like, there's nothing I want with this money. Because, I mean, I guess I'll just wait for it for shit that's like Target, diapers, you know, house supplies, whatever. And I still don't get the iPad Pro. My wife was like, yo, I'm going to buy it. I'm like, no, babe, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Relax. And like, I just talk myself out of shit all the time because I'm always thinking about
the 10-year, 20-year thing. Yeah. You think that'll affect the 20-year?
Dude, I mean, you know, I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I have people sending me shoes. Like, you know, by the way, thank you very much for those black staples. They're great. And I feel like maybe, I don't know. Are they more comfortable than they were back then? They are, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more comfortable than they were back then. Or maybe,
you know,
like
that? You want it to be less comfortable?
No, that's even better. I'm an old man, bro, you know? So I'm just saying, like, you send me shoes, you know, Cause will send me shoes. Anyone will send me shoes. Virgil, somebody send me shoes. It's like, I don't got to worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at worst, I go buy Vans for like $45.
Right.
And even Vans will sell me, but I figure it's more of a headache. I feel like what they want from me in return, like, dude, like, when I'm getting, like, liquor companies give me $25,000 for a post, do you know what I mean? And then fly me first or fly me private jet, put me up in a 5-star hotel, do like this, build this content up. It's like, no disrespect. I just rather wear my Vans and not tag them. And you know what I mean? Like $45. Like, and I know those guys are really cool. I just, that's the only thing I don't mind. I feel like that's worth it. Okay, fine, cool.
Yeah. You're free.
Shit, that's my wife.
Okay.
That could be important. Can we pause this tape for 1 second?
Yeah.
Hey, babe, sorry, honey. I'm still in the interview. I apologize. You called. Is it tape?
So while Ben talks to his wife for a second here, I want to take a moment and reflect on what he just talked about. Sure, brands might start hitting you up to send you free stuff, and that's great. But this goes back to the value of your time. Nothing comes for free. There are strings attached to everything, and it's important for you to understand those attachments. At the end of the day, Ben is fine with buying the things he wants at retail versus feeling obligated to that brand or feeling censored by this brand. He's good. And don't get me wrong, I think Ben will concur. I truly appreciate gifts as a gesture. It means so much to me that you thought I should receive this thing, but not with an obligation attached. That just ain't cool. Okay, let's see if Ben is finished with the call.
I did want to ask you one more thing. So you've seen so many things in your life. You've made so many mistakes and errors, right? Mm-hmm. When you see a young person now that you're doing businesses, like a close young person that you are, whatever, selling jewelry to, hanging out with, do you ever see someone going off the, like you're literally witnessing them going off the rails? And you're like, I can help this person because I've seen what I've gone through and I see this person going through the same thing. I'm sure you see it in so many facets of your life. You see these people just like doing dumb shit. Do you ever want to extend a hand to be like, yo, let me help you? Or do you feel like he needs to make this mistake? Okay.
So I can't tell you a specific one because it's almost obvious because people kind of do know. I've cut my list down of who I make jewelry for now. You know, I'm booked all the way till 2019 now, till August. And it's not even, it's just turned 2018, you know, I've been booked. So I think people kind of do know the people who are regulars with me with jewelry.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Drake. Drake is very wealthy now. Yeah. Drake has never, ever got to worry about nothing. And his entourage is so big and he's still good. Mm-hmm. Whenever a new rapper, because SoundCloud has developed all these new rappers, when they come and they want to spend money, I think they get the misconception that some chains are this way and some chains are that. And with the Instagram thing, again, they got jewelers who are giving chains away for free for promotion.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I don't need to.
Right.
Why would I need to do that? I'm the biggest jeweler there is out, period, bar none. There's nobody in my lane. There's nobody at my level. I don't want to hear it. It's not even up for discussion anymore. I've established that and I've secured that throne. Can someone take it? You know what? I don't think they'd take it. I think I'd give it up because I'm just starting to get older and whatever. With that said, when these kids come up and say, hey, so what's this going to cost? Let's just say I say $45,000, $50,000. And I'm like, I don't mean to get into your business. I always do this. And it's very nosy and it's really unprofessional, but it's I do it from a very good place. So anyone who has a problem with it, fuck you. I don't need your business anyway. Go fuck yourself. Go to someone else. They're like, oh man, yeah, man, I got $100,000 advance. I'm like, okay. That advance is for you to live too, right? He goes, well, I'm doing shows here and there. I was like, but I mean, it's a little nest egg that you can kind of like put away or something, right? Yeah, no, don't worry about it. You know, I'm cool and whatever. I'm like, all right. I'm telling you, as a grown man, you're technically grown by the state of the United States of America. You're a grown man. I'm telling you, you want to spend $50,000 on this chain, and that's half of your entire advance, which is pretty much most of your budget for your album. You're sure about that? He goes, man, why are you fucking asking me all these questions, Ben? Man, yeah, I want this fucking chain. All right, because I don't want you crying about it later if things don't work out. And if that, I'm not saying it's not, because you should think you're gonna be the best rapper in the world. But I don't want you to fall off later and be like, yo, Ben, I want my money back for this. You have to realize a lot of my work is labor.
Yeah.
So my money, scrap metal at 14 karat might be $30 or $28 a gram at currently, but I might be charging you $60 a gram because my labor was involved in that. You know what I'm trying to say? You're going to get your scrap metal back and your raw diamonds, which is still great. But I do a different level of work. I'm not Cartier. I'm not Tiffany where they're charging $300 a gram. You know, it's different. But I'm telling you, this may not be the investment for you.
Right. You're actually trying to help them to not fall into this.
And I was like, bro, if you can find a 2008 to 2012 Rolex Date 82 and get one for under $25,000, you can wear that. It's a costume write-off on your business. You're going to stunt. You're going to have a big face roller like Jay-Z. And guess what? There's no way you're going to even lose $1,000 on that watch. Things like that.
Right.
It's a good investment that way. It's like buying a pair of, I'm trying to say something that's pretty much like secured. I'm just saying if you can get a pair of Yeezys at retail, a rarer Yeezy, not the new ones, you've secured that. You know you're going to get your retail money back. You know, yeah. I'm just trying to talk about that. I had a kid come in who was a rapper. He had a Korean kid with him. Korean kid had somehow $10,000. He was 16 years old. Don't ask me how. I don't know how. He bought Bitcoin at 25 cents a share, and he spent $5,000 of his money, half of his money. That was everything. I can't imagine. Now 10,000 for a 16-year-old is still definitely a lot of money. A lot of money. They say a lot of Americans don't even have 10 grand saved to their name. But when I was 16, 10 is a shitload of money.
Yeah.
He dropped $5 in that Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got $92 million now. He's like 22 years old. So his buddy, who was the rapper, is still making music now. I think he has almost 1 million followers and whatever, and he does things. And he was like, you fucking crazy. I ain't about to put no fucking Ponzi scheme, this, that, the third, blah, blah. And we had this discussion. And I even told him, I said, I don't know. My cousin's more about the cryptocurrency thing. We've accepted cryptocurrency at my store at Bitcoin since 2014. And we've made a lot of money off it, but I feel like now it's going to be regulated. There's going to be a big crash. I don't care what analysts say, anything. They want to push it, but they can't. It's like gold bars. People are fucking buying gold bars. It's a great investment, but the IRS was going to downtown LA in New York City, and they're cracking out and going inside people's vaults, and they're open your safe, and it's like 300 bars of gold. Like, we're taking this because you don't have we need to fucking. This is money. This is currency. This is real live money. This is cash. You need to declare this. So there's no way it can't happen with Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Going back, I tell every person this. I see 2 kids last year buying Lamborghinis, G-Wagons, buying this, buy their mom a crib, buy this. I'm like, oh my God, okay, that's great. You bought a crib. Dog, what are you doing? And you know what? I can talk about something, and maybe people will see better light in this. To end that, I do tell these younger people. The older people, it really is none of my business. The younger people, I'm just more concerned about.
Yeah.
The ones who seem like they don't have a father figure in their life, they have a guardian, they don't have a big homie guiding them around, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro. I could help you though. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There is little things that you could do here.
It's kind of like a bartender giving a drunk guy another drink. Yeah. You have to sort of be like, yo, chill.
Yeah. Or it's Dr. Phil having an alcoholic and a drug addict on his show, and then I don't know if you heard about the allegations, and they gave the guy drugs, they gave the guy alcohol before they came to the interview. What kind of scumbag shit is that? I'd be a scumbag for doing this, but at the same time, I'm in a luxury business. Yeah. Nothing I do is a necessity. It's all for vanity. You know what I'm saying? I understand that.
Wow. I feel like this section needs to be heard by the listeners of our Soundcheck Music podcast. A little financial planning courtesy of Ben Baller. But this doesn't just go for rappers. It goes for anyone who comes into a little unexpected money. Whether it's a raise or a bonus or even a lotto ticket. Yeah, you might be able to afford and even justify that splurge you're about to make. But think about the long game. I know it's hard. Society makes us want all these bright, shiny things. But just take a beat and consider what you're about to do. Very wise words from a man who has definitely been there and done that.
Going on, 2 years ago, me and Neek became friends again. We've known each other since he was 13 years old.
And Neek. Antisocial.
Antisocial club.
Okay.
Comes to my house in his Charger SRT8, and it's like a $50,000 car. He's happy. Antisocial's doing well. Mm-hmm. It's doing well. And he's like, dog, things are going really well, blah, blah. I'm like, first exotic car he ever got him was mine. And this was maybe like 6 years ago. I came to the Stussy to go to the offices and I had a meeting with Adam. And do you know Adam Weissman? Yeah. So me and Adam had a meeting. And I was like, get in the car. He goes, oh, shit, rad. And, I was like, this is fucking Neek from Nike Talk. It's crazy.
Yeah.
This is Neek. It's like crazy seeing you now. You're like older. I forget that Neek is like in his early 20s. Looks like he's fucking 35 and ready to be in fucking, a Mongolian tribe. He's crazy. I make fun of Neek. I love Neek. I don't care. I can make fun of him. He's my brother. So in a matter of a year, I'm telling him, I said, listen, man, you got to be careful. This, that. But he goes, oh, man, taxes are crazy. I'm like, yeah, dude, you can't avoid taxes, And he's telling me what he does. And he lives in this like fucking 1,000 square foot apartment with pizza boxes everywhere. And the fucking floor was like, you step on the floor. I'm like, yo, what was that? And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, the carpet has been so engulfed in beer and alcohol that it's like you step in puddles. I'm like, bro, you can't live like this. You're making money now. He starts getting his big money. Mm-hmm. Neek gets, major paper. He buys a house, buys it cash. buys his car, finally buys an exotic car cash, you know, and I'm like, hey, bro. So, but he sees me doing stupid shit. The thing is, I'm able to write off certain things. I'm able to finesse certain things. I'm able to talk and do an influencer program with Lamborghini and say, hey, listen, man, the car is at $420,000 and the MSRP is at $370. You're selling at a $50,000 premium. Okay. Now let's forget about the premium. And like, are you crazy? People, I said, that's cool. Okay. You want to sell 100 more of these, or do you want to sell 50 at this? I'm telling you right now, I have a plan, and I'm taking my marketing into it, you know, and I'm like, all right, you're going to take $60,000 off the MSRP. They're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I was like, listen, and I'm going to be an ambassador for you guys, and I'm going to go fucking hard, and everyone's going to go in the streets. Those are just things that I'm doing. Yeah. So if I'm losing here, I'm gaining here, and there's ways to, like, you know, you take an L here, you take a pass here, and I do that. Nick wasn't doing that, and he bought like 8 cars in a year, and I did the same thing, but it was different the way I did it, and people were like, yo, and he was acting crazy, and I was like, hey, listen, all right. Then he started avoiding my phone calls, so I finally catch up to him on the street, and I put him in a headlock as I come over here, like on some big brother shit, because I can do that to him. And I was like, hey, dog, you need to stop fucking tripping, bro. You need to get your head out of your ass. You need to stop fucking acting crazy. And he goes, Ben, hold on. And he pulls out his phone, and he shows me his fucking PayPal account. And I'm like, you're running this shit off PayPal? Like, you know, antisocial? Like $1 million in one day. You know what I mean? I look at it, and I will not, it was almost like, I can't explain the disbelief I had. And I was like, all right, do me a favor. Do the face recognition again. You know, face recognition. I was like, give me the phone. Because I thought he was doing some trickery.
Right, like a Photoshop thing.
Yeah, it was a real PayPal app. And I was like, oh my fucking God. He understood at a certain point, I think, he realized that it could be a short-lived brand or it could be whatever. Yeah. He showed me emails from numerous, the best of the best, Jeffries, you know, like Maxfield's, Barney's, you know, any cool department store, Lane Crawford, that all wanted a piece of the brand, you know, as a hot brand. And he's really smart. He was savvy. But, you know, people trip on the shipping thing. Like, fuck it. It's, you know, he was just doing what he had to do, but it went bigger than what he thought. Yeah. And trying to fix it now, which he will. And he's a really smart kid. And I think me, along with maybe James Bond, maybe like 4 or 5 people that came up to him, and I think they kind of grabbed him before it was too late. And as much as they thought he was, you know, gonna go fuck it all off, I think the big homie guidance went a long way in this particular case. It's dope. So I'm happy, you know what I mean? He owns his house, he owns a car. So at least it wasn't leasing certain things, and he had them. So they were assets, and they were liquid, and they were whatever.
His head's on straight now?
I mean, I don't know if his head, my head's not on straight, but I mean, you know, he's, you know, remember he's 28 years old, you know, he's still a young kid, you know, and I'm just like, hey man, you know, you want to see 38, don't you? Yeah. You want to see 40, you want to see 50. I'm like, all right, listen man, stop smoking cigarettes, I'll stop doing this. I had to start changing my lifestyle, you know, we want to be here for a while. Longevity is the key.
And I mean, you experienced Jonah.
Jonas died, yeah, it was fucked up, man.
Yeah. And I mean, it's, you know.
I mean, Q died, that was a heart attack. It had nothing to do with any kind of drugs or anything. He's healthy. But, you know, just, I experienced a lot of death around me. And I feel like almost in a way, it's very sad that now I've become numb to it. I don't even cry at a funeral. I've been so many. I'm just like, wow, this is fucking crazy. But I freak out about it. And more recently I have, because I have kids and I want them to see their dad. You know, it's like nothing better.
On the discussion of getting help, asking for help, seeking help, Ben outlines the story of Neek from Antisocial Social Club, who hopefully we'll see on a future episode of the show. But this big brother sage advice might have helped avert a disaster here. If you have years of collective experience and learnings, share that knowledge, man. If you're new to the game, don't hesitate to ask the right people for a helping hand. You never know what it might mean to the rest of your life.
I don't want to get too deep about the Jonas thing, but, you know, Jonas had success. He had everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. Something else was eating inside of him. I don't need to, you know, I don't know what it was exactly, but I can speculate. But everyone has their own demons. Everyone has everything else. I'm just saying, if you could be a decent person, do square business. Not saying you can't, you know, like, oh well, no. Guess what? This Coca-Cola was a write-off. You know, there's ways to get around, you know, taxes or whatever, and you could do your write-offs, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, be smart. Just fucking do everything the right way, man, so you don't get fucked up. And you know, you said you should have this failure. I let one of these artists or one of these clients of mine hit some failure and learn from it. I say sometimes to people, I've said on Twitter, I say, hey, listen, man, sometimes you gotta let people fail because there's so much power and knowledge in that failure.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know how specific to the nitty gritty of the business I explained, but I mean,
you got it.
I mean,
I think you should start Ben Baller life planning next. Financial planning.
Hey, I just told you what worked for me. It might not work for you, but that's basically, I was glad to be here to share my story. A bit of it.
Good looking out, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode with Ben Baller. And I hope you're enjoying the new season of the show. You can find out more and listen to other episodes at HYPEBEAST.com/radio. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. I personally use Overcast. And leave a comment. Tell us what you think about the show. And if you can condense your thoughts into 280 characters or less, reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at jeffstaple. You can check us out on the web at businessofhype.com and email any questions you might have to questions@businessofhype.com. And we might actually field that question. In fact, this week we're going to do one. So let's answer one of the questions from the email address. In fact, we're going to have Daniel Navetta, our director, and also, if you remember his voice from the AMA episode, we'll have him pick one of the questions to be asked right now.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be back. This week's question is from Tony Baldwin. Hello, Jeff. Just want to start this email off by thanking you for creating the Business of Hype podcast. It's been such an informative piece of media and has made me want to stop thinking about getting my ideas out and just doing them, but in a concise and calculated way. I do have a question, and I hope you take the time to read this. My question is, what is the process of selecting someone for the show? For me, being a fan of streetwear culture and seeing these people expand and grow their business, it's always great to hear their story and hear about their path to what they qualify as success. Again, thanks, Jeff. Please keep up the exciting content.
So how do I select someone for the show? That's a great question. I mean, the first season was really just all people that I knew personally. This is really like a side project of mine, if you will. Like, I think I do many different things, so this wasn't my full-time job. And so the people that I ended up interviewing were inevitably people that I could just shoot a text message to and say, are you down to do this? So all those people were that. And then, the plan is to go from there and do like a sort of 6 degrees of separation from those people. And luckily that amounts to be quite a lot of really talented, interesting people. And I haven't really even, to be honest, had to go beyond that first degree of separation of just texting people. So it's been an honor. I love the guests that we have. I think one of the things that I pride myself on is providing you guys with like a wide variety of guests, internationally, domestically, from high design and high art to like the streets and the hood, people who have, MBAs and people who have, prison records. I try to cover everything on this show, just so you get a nice cross section of what it means to be a part of this business. Hope that answered your question. Thanks a lot, Tony. Thanks for writing in. And again, if you have any questions, email them to questions@businessofhype.com. Thanks for listening. The Business of Hype is directed by Daniel Navetta. It's been edited and produced by Bright Young Things. You can check them out at byt.nyc. Engineering is by Alexander Christensen, and our intern is Carolyn Cow. This was recorded at Sibling Rivalry Studio and on location at the Hampton Inn in Glendale, California. I'm Jeff Staple, and you've been listening to The Business of Hype on HYPEBEAST Radio.
Hey, how you doing? We're at the Hampton Inn Hotel across the street, and we've rented rooms here to shoot a documentary. And we can hear your music even inside our rooms. And we're just shooting for another hour. I was wondering if maybe till 12:30, if you could maybe turn down the outside speakers. Yeah, that'd be really great. We appreciate it. Okay, thank you very much. Yep.